Welcome to season 2, episode 13 of the Home Healthcare Today show. I'm your host, Dr. Cleamon. It is Healthy Vision Month. That's right, folks. Healthy Vision Month. Here in the month of July, we have the honor of speaking with the founder and CEO of eyeglasses.com, Mr. Mark Agnew. Let me briefly here share the background of Mr. Agnew. Mark is the CEO and founder of eyeglasses.com. Eyeglasses.com is a leader in the online consumer eyewear business. Since 1999, Agnew pioneered online retailing by being the first eyewear company with a virtual try-on application, earning 2 patents, which were later sold to Luxottica Corporation. Agnew has long been a consumer advocate, leaving a successful Wall Street career to develop eyeglasses.com. The omni-channel retailer sells high-quality eyewear to customers for half of the price normally charged by optical stores. As an expert in the eyewear industry, he authored Eyeglasses Buying Guide, How to Pay Less and Get More. The book offers advice and information to all consumers of eyeglasses, both offline and online. As an outspoken but objective critic of vision insurance benefits plans, Mark Agnew appeared frequently in the media to share how many plans are perhaps a bad deal for employees. Vision insurance benefits also raise the price of eyewear across the country, costing customers billions of dollars annually in overpayments to providers. Recently, Agnew launched Vision Magazine, an online publication which features research topics ranging from the eyewear business to insurance, health tips, and meditation. As the victim of street violence and permanently blinded in one eye, Agnew helps people deal with trauma through writing and public speaking opportunities and awareness counseling. Founded on the principle of helping others, eyeglasses.com continues to evolve its charity program and in 2019 launched eyewear to literally make blind people see again. For every pair of eyewear sold, eyeglasses.com funds a cataract surgery in India. This effort has earned Agnew wide-ranging media coverage in the press. Prior to founding eyeglasses.com, Agnew was director of fixed income research and vice president at Lehman Brothers. Before that, he was managing director, principal at Bear Stearns, and started his Wall Street career at Drexel Burnham Lambert. Agnew denies all responsibility for the demise of those 3 companies. Institutional Investor magazine recognized Agnew as a top analyst for his investment research, which numbered in the thousands of pages during 10 years on Wall Street. Agnew earned his MBA from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business and a BA in art history from Vassar College. He is an active Rotarian, was a board member of the Westport Western Chamber of Commerce, and he donates eyeglasses to local homeless shelters and is active in local charities. Mark, welcome to our show today.
Clem, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Mark, such an impressive background coming from financial services and that securities market to being a entrepreneur. Quite the journey. So how about you tell us a little bit more about that? I know I kind of grazed over it a bit, Mark, in my introduction of you. Um, do you mind sharing with listeners and viewers what was that inflection point? That made you say, "All right, this is what I'm going to do, and perhaps this is my life's work."
Yeah, that's a great question, Clem. It goes back to back when I was in my late 20s. I was mugged, hit in the eye with a stick, and I lost the vision in my right eye.
Yes,
And that was really a call to action.
yes,
That was a life-changing event. It took me many, many years to understand that.
hmm
Um, but uh, following that, I dropped what I was doing, applied to business school, went to business school, and then I moved from a sales position in finance beforehand to a research and analysis position afterwards.
okay,
I spent 10 years doing research, uh, mostly in emerging markets economies, South America and the Far East, looking at all types of industries,
yes,
um, and was at several companies, finally at Lehman Brothers. Um, and yet, after 15 years on Wall Street, I felt like my calling was not to make money, because
hmm
that's ultimately why people work on Wall Street, to make money.
yes, yes,
I needed more.
yes.
Um, and I purchased the URL eyeglasses.com, left Lehman Brothers, and jumped into a completely different business, alien to me at the time, which is to start my own company.
Yes.
So that
Absolutely.
that's the short story.
Very nice, Mark. Very nice. And I appreciate you, pointing to the fact that, as business majors, I'm also an MBA and I have a DBA, a Doctorate of Business Administration. And, in working and talking with young people, students out there, we could teach them finance, we could teach them accounting and marketing, operations, supply chain, and all those other disciplines within business, even the social science, the economics part of it. We could teach that. But teaching them how to care and teaching them how to find their purpose, even healthcare administration, you focus on a lot of the numbers behind healthcare, but teaching people how to be concerned about others and how to turn that into a viable, business offering, is a tremendous challenge that we have as educators, but it's certainly a great opportunity worth pursuing. And then sometimes life, I guess life has its plays its part in
Mhm.
helping folks to find that purpose and to care more. That leads me to the second question, Mark.
Mhm.
Um, you traveled throughout the world. You mentioned various parts of Asia and the like, and other continents. How did you hone in on eyeglasses per se and consumer eyewear?
Well, after uh, my eye situation,
hmm
which I don't like to call an attack, I like to call it a one of the best things that ever happened to me,
Wow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
because it led to so much good in my life. Met my wife, raised a family.
Yes.
So uh, these types of life-changing events that we have, there's always a bright side to it, and
Yes.
that's what needs to be focused on.
hmm Yes, it
Uh,
is.
and one experience leads to another. So after hours in hospitals and the eye doctor chair, and going to
Yes.
see the ophthalmologist and the optometrist and the surgeons, I began to uh, understand problems that were
Yes.
there, because I married that experience with my Wall Street experience of looking at businesses and industries and the structures of industries and how consumers are underserved or poorly served.
Yes.
At that point in the world, the URLs or the web addresses were, it was like the Wild West, let's say.
Yes.
So the internet was very new and shiny and fascinating.
Hmm.
And so thinking about eyes and eyeglasses and my experience in eyeglasses brought me to it.
Wonderful. Absolutely, Mark. Mark, and that's where we met. That's where we intersect, at this point in your career in the history of eyeglasses.com, because here in Detroit, there's a lot of folks that obviously have some eye issues and visual impediments. And then there's barriers, according to the Vision Detroit project. So Mark, thank you so kindly for stepping up to the plate to be our eyeglass partner, with Eye Care for Detroit. We'll talk much more about Eye Care for Detroit later on in the show. But
Sure.
yes, sir. But thanks so much. So back to eyeglasses.com. All right, let's talk about the mission and the vision. And how does something like service, which sometimes we take for granted until it's done extremely poorly, till there's poor customer service, how does service become a vision, Mark? Elaborate on that a little bit for us.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, life is an evolution. You can have events which change things, but you're still evolving slowly. And when I started eyeglasses.com at the end of '99, to be perfectly honest, I was looking at making a bucket full of money and moving on to the next thing.
Yes.
But that all came to an abrupt end in 2000 when the spigot was shut off.
Yes, sir.
And after a lot of introspection and study of this new business, I began to understand in a much more granular way
Hmm.
what people need.
Yes.
It constantly amazes me when people call us on the phone. There's often not much talk about eyeglasses. We hear a lot of stories
Yes.
that have nothing to do with eyeglasses,
Uh-huh.
and people just like to talk. And
Yes, they
the
do.
phone becomes a way that people can connect.
True.
And through that, you hear incredible stories. And we began to serve people in prisons and
Yes.
people. One
Yeah.
gentleman said the nearest optical store was a 2-hour flight away because he lived on an island in remote Alaska.
Yeah.
Um, and people who are homebound are very important.
Yes.
This very important service for them,
Yes, it is.
and the list goes on and on.
Uh-huh.
So we began to look in our local community how we could help, and I started working in the shelters here, and
Hmm.
the clients there often an eye exam was low down on their list,
Yes.
and just one experience after another, and it became more and more apparent that the more we give back, the
Yes.
more I would receive.
There you go. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Very good, Mark. Very good. Now, going back to 99, we're what, 2022? So 23 years ago, there's been a lot of developments. I know you mentioned 99 and then the spigot falling out in 2000 with the dot-com crash.
Mhm.
Everyone that could get their name on a domain name grabbed it. But in terms of fulfillment of what was promised on all those websites and domains, not so much. So,
Crazy,
right,
crazy.
you
So
know,
in 2000, one of the scariest moments of my life in 2000, we had just launched the virtual try-on patent,
yes.
and we we reached out to Oprah, and
Yeah.
Oprah was so enamored with virtual try-on and eyeglasses online. She did a segment about online companies, and we were the lead segment on that.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I didn't. I could have appeared on her show, but I knew I could never do that. So we had a person do that for us.
Wonderful.
And the entire time, I was just sweating because we expected the website to crash
Yeah.
live. She put it on live, and we were hoping it wasn't going to crash. But for
Yeah.
some reason, it stayed up for 10 minutes. And the moment the show stopped airing, our site crashed.
Oh, wow. Yes.
So we were pretty happy about that. But that's kind of the way it started.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. That is good. The power of marketing, media, and then of course, Oprah Winfrey and her being such the mogul and brand influencer that she's been for many,
But
many
in terms
years.
of your question about service,
Yes.
that's the level of service that was there. Like the internet was so new that
Yeah.
it couldn't provide the service
Yeah.
in response to the demand.
True. Yes. Yes, I get it. And now we're on like web 3.0, 4.0, super, super highways within themselves. Uh
Yeah.
going that's a long way from a two lane or from a byway
Hmm.
that it started out as. And that reminds me of I don't want to get too far off course here, Mark, but it really reminds me of the history of the commercial use of the internet. IBM's Prodigy service between IBM and Sears in 1990. We've
Hmm.
come a long way in the
Oh, yes.
last 32 years, right? What have you seen in terms of developments, though, Mark, with consumer eyewear over the last 23 years or so since you got started, with you
Oh,
guys being first to the market?
there's been so much change.
Yes.
For example, technology wise, when we were around the time of the Oprah show, we had 45 computers
Uh-huh.
that were managing the traffic.
Yes.
Within about 5 years, that same traffic could be handled by one or two computers.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's an idea of the hardware changed. And in terms of the eyewear market, it's been a continual evolution.
Yes.
So up and down. The first problem was just getting people to realize that the internet was there and that you could buy eyeglasses there.
Yes.
So that continues to be our number one problem.
Still today. Wow.
Still today,
Okay.
because it's people are accustomed to doing business a certain way, which
True.
is walk in, you see a doctor, the doctor tells you what glasses to buy and tells you it's going to cost you $400,
Yeah.
and you kind of scratch your head and say ouch, and then you
Right.
pay it. And
Right.
that's kind of the pattern. But as the internet came on, what would happen was people would go see the doctor and then say, could you give me my prescription because I'm going to go shopping online.
Yeah.
That's when the doors would get locked and the doctor would subject you to a half hour of telling you what an idiot and a moron you are for buying glasses online.
Ouch.
So
Yes.
we still have that negative advertising campaign going on all the time.
Yes.
Um, so it was like that for a number of years, and we were one of the only players, and we were doing business in a certain way that we continue to do, which is only to offer high quality branded products,
Yes.
top brands of
Uh-huh.
glasses, and only the best lenses made. And we
Wonderful.
continue to do that. But in 2013, a number of companies popped up that where their strategy was, let's see how cheap we can make glasses.
Mm. Mm.
And they started making them in the Far East by the thousands.
Yes, sir.
And they got the price of glasses way down low so that the online shoppers only saw the price,
Yeah.
and didn't really understand that the quality of the product was such that it would break or they wouldn't see properly, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
And that gave rise to Warby Parker,
Uh-huh.
places
Yeah.
like that. And there was a lot more sales on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
um, which was actually good for us because
Yes.
it raised awareness
Mm-hmm.
that you could buy glasses on the internet.
Yes.
And it raised awareness that a lot of it is junk.
Mm-hmm.
And those people ended up, after having those experiences, coming to us and getting a product that would last for years and years.
Wonderful.
So
Absolutely.
that's the kind of the 20-year short history of the eyewear industry online.
I appreciate it, Mark. Yes, and I'm sure our listeners and viewers appreciate that as well. Because when you begin to think about markets, there's segments, there's those clusters of performers, right? And the lowest discounted, set of frames, the cheapest, most inferior set of lenses does no one any good, except for that retailer that's perhaps selling them by the thousands. But that's a short run. That's a short run vision to maximize profit and create these little cash cows, but they aren't sustainable. The market has a way of communicating with each other nowadays via not only consumer reports, but there's something called social media where folks get to talking about their experiences with the brand, and how the brand is an experience. So let's talk a little bit about that, Mark, the experience that a customer has with going with eyeglasses.com. What's that value proposition that you feel eyeglasses.com has that distinguishes this company from the competitors, besides the quality lenses and the high quality brand name frames?
Yeah, so a lot of our service product is informed by our personal experiences on Amazon.com, which
Yes.
most of your listeners can relate to.
Yes.
So have you ever tried to call Amazon?
I've
It's
tried.
it's a pretty crazy experience.
I think
You
I'm still
can't
on
call
hold.
them.
I'm still
You
on
can't.
hold.
Yeah, exactly. You can't
Yeah.
call them. You can't email them. You can't text them. There's no communication. You're literally dealing with a robot.
Yes.
So a lot of our competitors function the same way,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
where you can, if you have a question,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to get an answer because there's no profit in it for them. An eyeglass purchase is not something that happens quickly. It's not an off-the-shelf product. It's not like going to Best Buy, saying, I want that thing, and picking up a box and walking to the cashier and leaving. It's not
No.
like that at all.
No.
There's a whole set of questions about the frame, followed by a whole set of questions of the use of the frame and then the use of the lenses, because every person has a different lifestyle and a different use for their lenses.
Yes.
And these lead to questions, many, many questions.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many questions that it's virtually impossible to answer all the questions with a website.
No.
And even if you could, most people don't have the time to read everything.
True.
So what do?
Yes.
They call, they chat, they email,
Yes.
and that's where we come in.
Right.
So we support phone chat and email to answer all these questions before, during, and after the purchase.
Right.
More than that, if you have a problem with a frame, like a warranty, everything we offer has a minimum of a 1-year warranty, and most things have a 2-year warranty. And we have a perfect lenses guarantee. So if they don't work for you, send them back, you get a full refund.
Wow.
We also have a 30-day return policy. If you buy them and you just don't like them,
yes,
send them back for a full refund.
Gotcha. Awesome.
So, and I guess the last piece of it is that we don't sell junk ever. If we find that a vendor has a bad frame, or we find that a vendor is selling low quality products, we just cut them off.
Very good.
Because we don't need the hassle. You don't need the hassle. And that's just how we do it.
Absolutely. Very good, Mark. Mark, question prior to us going to our commercial, because after the commercial, we're going to go into like Healthy Vision Month and more of the benefits of going with eyeglasses.com. And we'll talk about our partnership with between Eye Care for Detroit and eyeglasses.com. But I'm sure there's probably some listeners and there'll be some viewers that ask, well, all right, well, what if they don't quite fit the way that I thought they would fit, or if I need adjustments? How does that work, Mark, with eyeglasses.com?
Yeah, so eyeglasses are it's a fascinating product, really.
Yes.
Because eyeglasses are designed to be adjusted. And the materials that are used in eyeglasses are very, very specific.
Yes.
It's a product that has to be used every day. It has to be adjustable, but it also has to be durable.
Yes.
So every part is designed that way. And if as I like to say, most frames will fit on most people. It's really about the look.
Yes.
Take your glasses, for example.
Yes,
fabulous shape.
Yes,
fabulous.
Sir. Thank you.
Now, if my head is larger than yours, those glasses are still going to fit on me, but they might need a little bit of adjustment in the front or on the sides. And there's a couple ways of doing that. One is we offer instructions.
Okay.
It's very easy to do. You just have to be gentle, maybe use a little heat or hot water and make very small adjustments.
Yes.
And we tell you how to do that.
Wonderful.
Or many eyeglass stores where you got your prescription will give you a little adjustment for no charge.
Yes.
So it's really more about fitting is really not an issue for people. It's more about how it looks on them. They just don't like the shape. They just don't like the color.
Yes.
And that's where people want to return and try something else.
Absolutely. Wonderful, Mark. Good feedback there to, for those that are on the fence about it, we're helping them to understand that there's great value, a lot of quality, a lot of utility. Mark, we're going to go to a commercial and come back and have some more dialogue as we celebrate, Healthy Vision Month. We'll be right back.
As Americans, we're defined by our grit, our toughness, our excellence, and our multiculturalism. But here in Detroit and Southeast Michigan, we are battle tested. That's our advantage. We've been hit rather hard by the pandemic and other health challenges. Allow American Advantage Home Care to provide skilled home care services for you in the comfort of your own home. We are Joint Commission accredited and CMS certified. Call us today.
All right, welcome back to Season 2, Episode 13 of the Home Healthcare Today show. It's Healthy Vision Month, and we are joined by the founder and CEO of eyeglasses.com, Mr. Mark Agnew. So, for those of you just joining our show, we spent the first segment introducing Mark as well as eyeglasses.com. And then we honed in like on some of the developments of online retail for eyeglasses over the last 20 years or so. And then we wrapped up the first segment by focusing not only on those developments over the last 20 years, but hey, what makes eyeglasses.com a best option for those who are shopping online for glasses? So let's pick right back up there. So, Mark, as we think about the affordability of going with eyeglasses.com, how your pricing is half of a lot of the online, or not only online, but the physical in-store optical shops. Let's talk a little bit about vision benefit plans. You've been rather, verbal about and vocal about some of your thoughts regarding those plans. Overall, what should customers or clients look to receive from their vision benefit plans?
Sure. So vision benefit plans are really gets us into the topic of the pricing of eyewear.
Yes.
So I'm gonna let you in on some industry secrets here.
Uh-oh. Okay. I'm sitting down. I'm sitting. Yes. Go for it, Mark. Yes.
So basically, you can at the wholesale level,
Yes.
the best glasses are made for the most part in Europe and in Japan. But 90% of eyeglass frames are now made in China and the Far East.
Okay.
So
Yes.
you've got a divergence between the best quality and the biggest production.
Okay.
And when eyeglasses are sold to retailers, to doctors and so forth, what the doctor does is he pays a price for it. If it's a branded frame, say it's $30 wholesale, he'll sell that for maybe a 5 times markup.
Okay.
So that'll go for $150, let's say, and then add lenses onto that, a couple $100, and you've got your $350 glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Now, eyeglasses.com functions a little differently.
Yes.
So we'll take that $30 pair, we'll sell that frame for $60. And then your lenses, and that's called a keystone markup, a 2 times markup, which is very standard in retail.
Yes, it is.
That's the standard. And then on lenses, we do the same thing. If we pay we don't make most of our lenses. We use the best lab in the world, Essilor, to do our lenses.
Yes.
Or if your lenses cost us $30, we'll charge you $60 on those. So you're out the door with at about 120, let's say.
Yes.
What the doctors will send you out the door for $350 most of the time, and the reason he's doing that, for a couple reasons. One is that he doesn't have the volume that we do.
Yes.
But the other is that many times he will be people will ask him to use their insurance.
Yes.
And then he'll be forced to offer a discount. So he starts off with that high sticker price, knowing that he's going to have to knock it down.
Yes.
And that'll knock it down usually about 40%.
Okay.
And that'll get him down to like a $200 number for you. So that's his side of that plan. Now on the patient side,
yes,
some employers will give you vision benefits no charge.
right.
Most employers will give it to you as an elective so that you have to choose whether you want it.
Yes.
And it looks really cheap. It's $2 a week, $3 a week.
Right.
You've got a steady job. Who can't afford $3 a week?
Sure.
Right? Makes sense.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you pay in $3 a week. That's $150 out of pocket.
Yes.
During the year.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't use it by the end of the year, guess what happens?
You lose it.
You lose it.
Yes, sir.
So you pay in $150, you have to work really, really hard to get your $150 back.
Yes.
And in that example I just gave you, that's what happens.
It is.
You paid in $150, you saved $150. So what happened? Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing for you.
you made nothing on that.
There
so
you go.
We circumvent that whole process by offering a just a low, a low price to begin with.
There you go, Mark. I see it. I see it. So
yeah.
as we dive into that a little more, I think about the multiples. I think about, if you have a family insurance plan and you're covering your children in that plan, or you're covering a spouse, so you take that $3 and you multiply it by 4. So now all of a sudden that's $12, and you multiply that, by the weeks, the 52 weeks in a year. Now we get into much bigger figures,
right,
times the number of working employees.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now what happens if you get to the end of the year after you paid in your $150 and you don't need new glasses?
Hey, right. What happened to that money? Where did it go?
That money is gone.
Yep.
Or you're forced to go back to the doctor and buy glasses that you didn't really need.
True.
So there's that problem.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So we appreciate the transparency, Mark, and a little bit of that industry inside knowledge. I'm sure our listeners and viewers really, really appreciate that. And yes, the keystone markup in retail is very, that's the standard. But to see that in some cases it's the markup of 5 and 6 and 7 times is a bit concerning. It's certainly a bit concerning. Absolutely, Mark. So we notice on your website, on eyeglasses.com, you have directories. And by the way, Mark, eyeglasses.com, your headquarters, is it Colorado?
It's in Connecticut.
Connecticut is the headquarters. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look at the directory of eyeglasses.com, even though your headquarters is Connecticut, there are web listings for local doctors, ophthalmologists, optometrists throughout the country. So let's talk a little bit about that, Mark. Aggregating that list of locals for various consumers, and any thoughts on that in terms of recommendations for folks that are in a particular city or state and looking for an eye care professional?
Sure, that's actually a pretty simple tool, and it has all the practitioners on it.
Yes.
And gives you an idea of whether they make glasses or whether they're just medical.
Yes.
But really the best way to start that process is to determine what it is you need. Are you looking for an exam? Do you have a medical issue? Are you new to town, or maybe or not? Maybe you want to switch your doctor, or maybe you need glasses. So you figure out what your need is, what your use case is, and then you can go to the directory and search by zip code or by town. And then you can map the providers in your area, find one that's close to you, and go from there.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, so this is really great, Mark. A great tool. And where our work intersects with Eye Care for Detroit, we are hoping to provide, ease of access to the homebound population and the underserved population in Detroit that has that limited access to get out to eye care professionals. So, putting together a very strong network of eye care professionals that go in homes for visits, those that perhaps do telehealth, telemedicine visits, as well as mobile clinics. So we're really, inspired to connect with the network of local optometrists and ophthalmologists to make that vision happen, as well as, send a shuttle to pick up patients. So
Mhm.
speaking of the homebound now, speaking of the homebound, Mark, from your professional experience in dealing with that segment, because
Mhm.
of course this is the Home Healthcare Today show, help us, Mark, to look at best practices or tactics for some of that back and forth that patients may have with getting getting the right look that they want for their eyewear and the right feel. So, what are some things we should consider, Mark, as we take on this huge endeavor?
Yeah, so when a patient is trying to find something that looks good on them,
Yes.
everyone has a different idea of that.
Yeah.
So the way to
Yeah.
start is to go online and to use our very, very powerful search and sort function. So you can uh, look for the specific parameters that you're interested in. Everyone comes at this from a different perspective.
True.
For example, many people like to start the process by finding something that looks like what they already have.
Right. Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's very common.
Yes.
Or they might start the process by saying, I'm looking for an aviator shape, or
Yeah.
I'm looking for a square shape because I saw it on someone in a movie,
Yeah.
or, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how you start. And then you can narrow down out of 200,000 different shapes, right down to the last 100 that meet all of your parameters.
Yes.
From there, it's a matter of kind of narrowing down by color.
Uh-huh.
There really aren't that many colors in eyeglasses. There's
Yeah.
gold, silver, black, brown,
Uh-huh.
and then everything else.
Everything- Blue and red.
So I would say everything else, and
Yeah.
each one of those is about 20%. And
Pink and gray. Yeah.
most people can put themselves pretty quickly into one of those buckets. Um, and then from there, different things can happen. We can send out frames. People order 3 frames, try them on, send them back for a full refund.
Yes.
Sometimes they'll send us pictures of themselves in glasses, and they'll say, find me something like this.
Yeah.
Um, we have a wish list, so you can put a few glasses in your wish list, and then you can email that to your significant other, your friends, and get them to say, you look great in this, you look awful in that. What are you, nuts?
Yeah.
Um, and so there's many ways to do it, but all of this can be done from your house.
Yes. Absolutely. This is great, Mark. This is great. And we're gonna also, those multiple colors and the look, as we celebrate our partnership, Mark, between Eye Care for Detroit and eyeglasses.com, we'll have a scrolling function and feature, on our website to go right to your site. So, um, you know, our clients are able to pick and select those classes. So there's 120 plus frames, Mark, that you and your team identified for Detroiters. And I must admit, they have a lot of personality and style. It captures the urban flavor of the D, various names for these, like the Detroit Reggies, the Detroit Professors. So even though the majority of online consumers are women buyers, you did take care of the gentlemen. So we appreciate that. But the female brands, there's no shortstop there. So the I Care for Detroit Brendas are pretty sharp, pretty classy. So definitely way to go. And then, Mark, $17. We're so appreciative, even though we just went over some of the typical prices of, say, wholesale at $30 or more, and then a $60 markup. You and your team have been very generous to the people of Detroit, the homebound and the seniors, the underserved. And we appreciate that $17 retail price across 120 plus designer frames in recognition of Detroit's birth year of 1701. So thank you so kindly, Mark, for that. And then a 17.01% discount to be applied to other items on the site, not to be used at the same time, listeners and viewers. Not 17 on the frame, and now let me get another 17.01 discount. But hey, we're celebrating it. We're happy about it as we celebrate Detroit's birthday here, July 24th. So thank you. Mark, but you're philanthropic not only to the D and to India. You serve on a lot of different boards and you're involved in charity. So let's talk a little bit about that, Mark. An industry leader who gives and gives back. What are some of those interests and what are some of the drivers, Mark, for the benevolence?
Yeah, this is where I really get passionate about the business I'm in, because at its heart, eyeglasses is a service business.
Yes,
and you can really change someone's life with a pair of eyeglasses, and
yes,
it's amazing.
yes,
And it's not just about eyeglasses, but it's about vision.
yes,
If a person who has compromised vision is very limited in how they can interact with the world.
true.
So we for every sale that we make, we donate a pair of eyeglasses to people in countries who don't have eyeglasses. So imagine a person who's working in a agricultural business in South
Yes,
America, and they can't see.
true. Yes,
They
yes,
can't see, so they have trouble doing their job. They're more prone to accidents and hazards on the job. And so I look to set up programs that are linked with my business, because I
yes,
feel that if I can link my business to helping, then I'm going to get the come around.
yes, you will.
Go around and the come around. And
True.
I'm a very big believer in the karmic rubber band.
That's right.
So I do that on an eyeglasses basis, and then I also make a donation every day to make a blind person see again.
Wow.
Now, how does that work? Well,
Yes.
in India, where there's over 10 million people who have total blindness from cataracts.
Yes.
And that happens because they don't have access to a diverse food supply.
Yes.
That can be cured with a $30 cataract surgery.
Wow.
So far, I've done almost 2,000 surgeries.
Wow.
Which means 2,000 people who were the ultimate homebounds, because they can't
True.
really do anything.
True.
They're a drain on society.
Yes.
They're completely shut in, and it's something I'm not able to do in the United States, because the exact same surgery, the same equipment costs $3,000 per eye.
Yes.
So I'm
It
very
does.
passionate about that. In
Yes.
terms of the glasses for eye care for Detroit, I view that as not as a cost, but as an opportunity to help people.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm always looking for those opportunities. When someone says, help me, I have a very hard time not doing everything I can to help them. So,
Wonderful, Mark. And I personally and professionally appreciate your approach to global corporate social responsibility. Or now those are fancy words for just answering the call. And when I shared with you the findings of the Vision Detroit project, and our quest to close that gap for 40,000 homebound Detroiters. I was pleasantly surprised to get your response, and the response was simple. It was, "How can I help?" You know, so and you've stepped up to the plate, and that we greatly appreciate. And Mark, it's our hope that as we make the appeal to other partners and other donors, that their response is to make the simple decision to give the gift of vision. It's real simple,
yeah,
and we're not doing it alone. So getting the prescriptions from ophthalmologists and optometrists and opticians is very important. But with that script in hand, knowing that there's a partner um, like you guys, eyeglasses.com, to fill that prescription will make the lives of our patients and clients that much better.
great. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, last question. Now that we're all sentimental and looking for Kleenex over here, you know, we talked about the past a whole lot. Even in the cataract surgery discussion for India, I had cataracts removed in 1997, and I was born with congenital cataract. So the procedure in 1981, my parents were very leery about the state of technology, at that particular time, and then the cost was far beyond our means, and it still was in '97. But we got help. We had some local help, a local foundation that helped us out to make that happen, and from this point on, we're going to continue to pay it forward. Speaking of forward, Mark, mid 21st century, 2050, we'll be in our early 90s perhaps, but mid 21st century, early 80s, late 70s, what will the market look like, Mark? What's the future of online eyewear and consumption?
Well, what I'm so excited about is that
Yeah.
the future is coming a lot sooner than that.
Yes.
And that
Wow.
is online refractions.
Hey,
So
yes.
a refraction is the part of your eye exam where they determine what your prescription is.
Yes.
So there are 5 companies that are developing an online test that you can take. It takes about 20 minutes.
Wow.
That at the end of it, you're going to have a prescription, and you're not going to have to go to the eye doctor to get it.
No.
And this is very, very sophisticated AI technology that's being used, and it's going to equalize and provide a much wider range of opportunities for people. It's also going to help people who have an eye problem to know that they have an eye problem and that they need to go see a doctor right away.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
literally going to revolutionize the whole eyewear business. And in the process of doing so, it's going to significantly increase the amount of glasses that are sold online.
Yes, it will. It will tremendously do that. It's gonna, be a great aid to the patients and the citizenry out there. And then, of course, the ophthalmologists and optometrists who are behind the scenes, because we know with software development there are those challenges as well as opportunities, but knowing that it's backed in medicine and it's backed by, scientists and research and medical professionals, and then folks that know about business and know about computer science and programming, and then privacy protection and the like. So those 5 companies that are involved, I've done some research on online refraction and the developments that are coming our way. And it looks like a very comprehensive solution, Mark. It really, really does. And most importantly, a global solution. So
Yes.
yes, we got a lot to look forward to. Hey, Mark, as we wrap up season 2, episode 13 of the Home Healthcare Today show, Healthy Vision Month, is there any concluding thought or idea that you want to leave listeners and viewers with?
I guess the only concluding thought is what I've learned in my life, and that is that when you help other people, it comes around.
Yes, it does, my man.
It's unfailing math.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it is. The rubber band of karma, indeed. Yeah, so put out some good, and it doesn't always come back from the same direction that you put it
No.
in, but
That's so true.
but we'll leave that to him. We'll leave that to God above. No doubt. Hey, Mark, thank you for helping us to do God's work here. And
Thanks, Clem. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about our projects and working together to help people.
Absolutely. Me too, Mark. Well, hey, happy Healthy Vision Month for the latter half of it, and enjoy the rest of summer 2022, Mark.
You as well, Clem. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.